My name is Abraham Great, and welcome to this platform. For those who are part of this channel already, you're welcome again. For those who are just joining for the first time, this is Abraham Great. Here you will learn tips that will help you to connect the dots. This dot has the proclivity to move you into action. It is working. Now, today I want to talk about 7 categories of Nigerians. 7 categories of Nigerians. And I mean that in every nation there are all and different kinds and different categories of people. But the Nigerian people are a very unique, set of people. First of all, the Nigerian gene is a very unique gene. It's a very, very successful gene. It's a very creative gene. It's a very tenacious gene. Nigerians are a people that just find a way, no matter what it is. They create solution out of many problems, global problems, national problems. They are a set of people that laughs even in the midst of obscurity, adversity. They are people that largely develops thick skins. They are a people that it is very hard to compete with them. Those who don't understand Nigerians actually envy them. In some cases, some people actually vilify them, or even some even hate them. But majority of the people that comes in contact with Nigeria, no matter where you are in the world, really want to make them as brothers, sisters, friends, husbands, wives, because there is just something. And above everything that you know about Nigerians, there's this one thing that everybody know about Nigerians. These guys are hard workers, smart thinkers. That's said about Nigerians. But when you look at Nigeria as a country, particularly in Nigeria itself, and I have the authority to say that because at least I spent the first 19 years of my life in that country from birth. And in that 19 years, yes, maybe a few times I was out of Nigeria or what have you, but I left that country from that age, and it's been over 25 years. But one thing that is consistent is that nearly every year in that 25 years, I've been back in Nigeria. I've interacted with Nigeria across every sector, at every level. So I know Nigerians reasonably well. Now let's look at the 7 categories of Nigerians. And please let me know what you think. Watch this till the end, by the way, and comment and let me know what you think about these categories and where you think you are in the category. Number 1, the people who are the problem. There is a set of people in Nigeria, either they admit or they don't admit, either they agree or they don't agree, either they are conscious of it or they are not. This set of people are actually the major problem of Nigeria. Actually, that's just the truth. These people want what they want at the expense of many or millions of Nigeria. These people do what they like at the expense of many Nigerians. These people places their personal ambition, their personal beliefs, their personal traditions, their personal religion, their personal idiosyncrasies above the need to build a nation. Look at a nation like the United Arab Emirates, for example. That country has been a good modern example of what leadership should be like: visionary, empathic, and thinking about the people. The United Arab Emirates is one of the only few countries in the entire world where you do not see a citizen poor. As a matter of fact, everybody who comes into the United Arab Emirates works for the citizens of that country. Ideas are generated to make the life of an average citizen better. Live luxurious life or live a very comfortable life. But in Nigeria, there is a sect of people who have known about Nigeria, who sees Nigeria as their personal prerogative, or who have a portion by being around the table for so long and have, privatized the country to their own. These people are not only the ruling elite. These people are not just the politicians. These people are in economy. These people are in religion. These people are in traditions. These people are not only leaders alone. These people are not only old men alone. These people also could be young. They could be, touts on the street that are reigning over a region, and it's been passed down from families to families. But these people, or this generation of people, or this set or sect of people are the problem. They are the problem. But like I said, these people would never agree or never understand unless by the way of sitting around the debate and having great interaction with every stakeholders in the nation. And some people will actually see genuinely that, my attitude of the last 10 years, my attitude of the last 20 years, my attitude perhaps of the last 60 years, or my concentration, my ambition, my own dream actually might be hindering the dreams of millions of Nigeria. The set of people who are the problem. And also at the basic level, or at a different level, at an ordinary citizens level, there are those who bring shame to the name of the country. There are those who do things. There are those who do rituals. There are those who kill other people. There are those who take out arms. There are those who do all kinds. All these sets of people are in the same set of people that I spoke about earlier. Everyone that is making the country more difficult for the rest of the people to live in that country are the problems of that country. Number two, the people who only sees the problem. This is maybe not as bad as the first set of the people, but these people only bickering, murmuring, complaining. The only thing this set of people see is only the problem. They don't seem to see anything good in anyone or in anything. I do believe that whilst all the leaders who have led us in the past, or who have led that nation in the past, have made a lot of mistakes, but I do believe that a lot of them also are good men and women. And I always say this, from Genesis to COVID, there has never been a perfect leader. No matter the holy book that you read, there is no perfect leader who has been perfect. But the thing is that as human beings, we are more tolerant of dead men than we are of living men. We will celebrate men, traditional men who have died 1,000 years, or we will celebrate, deities who would celebrate great men who have lived 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 6,000 years ago. But the problem is a lot of the people that we see today who are amongst us, who are our leaders, who are our fathers, our mothers, our brothers and sisters, are also fallible. They have problems, they have issues, they have idiosyncrasies, but the thing is that we vilify them. We actually only see this problem. Sometimes when we have public debate, maybe in town halls, maybe on Twitter, or any other place in newsrooms where we have debate, it's really surprising to me that some people refuse to see any ray of light or any hope in the nation, or in some cases, see nothing right. There are leaders who, look, they have amassed great amount of wealth. But the truth is that some of those leaders have created massive opportunity that never existed in the country before. And I will always liken leaders like that to what has been done in America, in Texas, in New York, and in many other states. And it's so like in Russia, like in Mexico, like in Brazil. There are families that ruled in Southern American countries that the country is actually run by families, but the economy is called emerging economy, and they are a lot better than many poor countries around the world. While I do not agree or completely endorse, monopoly or oligopolistic and every kind of economic shenanigans, some of these people have not been entirely greedy as you think, or as thieves, as some people will call them. Some of them have actually seen visions that many would not see, and in some cases even 50 years or 100 years, the nation may not even have come that far. Now, these men and women may be in the class of what they call the tycoons in America, the Rockefeller family, the JP Morgans of this world. When America was struggling and they were in poverty, these men saw several industries like the railway industry, like the steel industry. They created massive, revenue. It was not easy for them. However, saying that, these men, if need be, must be tried. You see, the trials will be for public benefits, not only for public benefits. In some cases, it might not be even to jail them or what have you, but it is to teach every other person that is aspiring to be a leader or have an opportunity to do things in such a way. In other ways, it is actually to control their appetite also, so that they know that, the way I've gone about this. And the thing and the truth of the matter is this. In some cases, some of those people did not intentionally make the mistake they make. Every human being that is striving to grow, striving to be great, creates so many things. And many years back, you may look back and say, maybe I should have done this that way, done the other one that way. But there is a group of people, there is, no matter how much you convince them, all they see in everyone in the country itself, and in everyone in the country is only the problem. This set of people also need to shape their think. We need hope in order to build any nation. There is a need for positivity. There is a need for us to be able to dialogue and see all the people, not just the way that we see alone. In some cases, we don't know it all, and we may be wrong. And these particular second categories of people leave room for two things. It's just that in Nigeria, if Nigeria was like America, this would have been easier control. And this is it. There is opportunity for the people to fall into libel or defamation. You say things about people that are not correct or that are not entirely true. So for example, we call people thieves, we call people looters. While there are people who are perpetuating that, we need to actually have all our facts tried in court. That is why I like the civility of the Western world. People may assume things, but they will rather take it on in the court and be sure that this is being validated or their argument is 100% sure. In some cases, some of us just have public knowledge and we are, writing, we are destroying people, we are protesting, we are what have you. But there is a path of advocacy. As a natural citizen, you can actually, in that country, and I respect, to be honest, I respect the place of someone like Deji Adeyanju, Omoyele Sowore, and what have you, who will hear or see. They will not just talk. So, I don't agree with them in a lot of cases, but the real truth is at least you see them doing something about it. If they find something about a leader and they find that this is inappropriate, they go to court. And this we can do more of, and then have a public evidence of their crime and get them to pay the consequence. And whilst we're doing that, we still remain positive about believing in ourselves. We have a nation to build. We have a country to build, and we need hope to build that nation. Number three, the people who only see who the problem are. These are different from the second category. The second category of people only see the problem, but the third category of people only see who the problems are. An average Nigerian that is about 20-year-old can tell you who they think the problem of Nigeria is. Now, let alone people who are in their 40s, their 50s, or their 60s or 70s, have seen enough of the problem of Nigeria that they can actually mention a few names. Now, in some of the cases, the only place we look to blame is at the leadership level. We blame the president, the past president, the current president. We blame the governors, we blame leaders. But there are other ways that we have not seen. There are other places that we have not seen. And there is a problem when we demonize everyone who have led us. Again, from Genesis to COVID, there has never been a perfect leader. There is something good in every leader. As the saying always goes, even a dead clock is at least right twice in a day. A dead clock without battery would at least be right twice in a day. So this category of people also need to be careful, not just to demonize people, not just or only look, because it becomes an addiction that all you do is just to call out people, demonize people. You see, it has never really solved any problem. We need to move beyond that. Number four, the people who are contributing to the problem. These people don't like the problem, but invariably contributing to the problem. And how do they do that? They blame people in leadership for one thing, but they are exhibiting the same thing as husband or as wife. They are as unfaithful as the people they criticize. These people are maybe in leadership, maybe running their own family or running an organization. They cheat, they break laws, they do other things. Now, these people are conscious of what the problem are, but unknowingly, and in some cases knowingly, and some will actually intentionally live a life of wrong and still blame it on other people. These set of people are contributing to the problem. Now, every parent, we have a responsibility as a parent to raise our own side of the family and be sure that what we are producing for the community are men and women, boys and girls of great virtue, of great value. Because if not, we are contributing. See, some time ago, I was made to hear about the case of a parent who knows what their child was doing. And because the child was bringing them income and taking care of them, paying their rent, they continue to endorse this child to continue to do what the child does. When the child had the opportunity to speak to me, it really breaks my heart that you mean your parent knows what you do. Your parent knows that, you might be using your body or what have you to get what you want. And they're still putting this much demand on you in order for you to take care of them. While I understand the country is going through a lot, I'm speaking to every parent out there. Please do not turn your children into money-making machine. Do not turn your children to go and do things that, and in some cases, some children, they carry burden in their 20s because they have to parent for their parent, they have to feed their parent, they have to do all kinds of things. And some of them are bleeding in the inside and are crying and are seeking for help. They're going to pastors, they're going to leaders, they're going to people that, look, when is it going to be okay for me? When am I going to be able to stand on my feet? I even want to go to school, but I can't go to school because my parent can't eat, my siblings can't eat. And this is a call out to the leaders of the nation that, according to Maslow's hierarchy of need, if we cannot build a nation where an average person can at least have light, have shelter over their head, we have indeed wasted all the years of existing as a nation. Number 5, the people who are taking advantage of the problem. Nigeria is a very unique country. That we have a problem. Let me give you one national problem that we have. We have a national problem of focus on one major. Nigeria has other revenue sources, but the major revenue source, for example, is crude oil. Oil and gas is a big deal in Nigeria. And there are those who sees the problem, and most of these things are in the hand of a few elite who runs this sector as oligarchs. Now, there are people who bunkers. There are people who break pipes. There are people who sees that this is a major revenue in the country. There are other nations who have these, natural resources and stuff like that. But the proliferation of thuggery and all kinds of malpractices in the Nigerian economy, not just in the oil and gas or in the crude oil industry. There are people who just sees that there are loopholes in the system. There are in Nigeria, for example, the principle of ghost workers, people who just put names of people who never existed or who are never even born, or people who have died, and they're collecting salaries from them. And these people build houses, in some cases take their money to religious organizations to get and pay tithe and to eat or to build churches or mosques or what have you. You are contributing to the problem of your country. We gotta build a nation with values. We gotta be a people. The same brain that is producing that malicious, clandestine ways of making revenue, the same brain can actually produce all the legitimate sources of making, legitimate income in that country. Number 6, the people who are focused on finding the solution to the problem. These sets of people are funny. This set of people are unique. This set of people are dynamic. This set of people live a very agitative life. They're very agitated about the current situation in the country. These people go about, if they have the means, they travel abroad. When they read, they're always finding, what can we do in Nigeria? Now, this set of people are also quite intricate, because in a lot of cases, these people find a solution, create the solution, and here's the thing, because of the economy of scale, some of these people then become economic oligarchs. I'm going to say that again. The people who are focused on finding the solution sometimes fall into the trap of being seen as people who become extremely wealthy. Because here is the thing. If there is a country in massive darkness, those who monetize bringing light, for example, can become extremely rich simply because of the economy of scale. Those who build industry that never existed before, because there is something called the law of the first mention. When they create a city that does not exist, or ameliorated a city that does not exist before, or build things. Now, the human nature is insatiable. That means human beings were never satisfied. So you see the person find one problem and they solve the problem. By the time they see the income that comes in that from solving that problem, because life pays you by the problems you solve. So they look at that, oh, I can find more problems. Now, here is the thing about some of these people. Some of them should be celebrated, because in some cases, while all the people, find solutions in the country, create the solution, take the money, they run to Switzerland, they run to America, and they're spending the money. Some of these people have spent the money that they have made based on the economy of scale, or how huge the market is, in rebuilding the nation. So there are different categories of people. There are those who are solving the problem or finding the solution at a larger scale, or the federal level and the state level. But there are those who are just doing their own bit, maybe in a TV station, maybe in a religious organization, maybe in town halls, maybe in communities. Those who are creating schools, those who are creating answer, those who are creating advocacies, even those who lead protest for a change, as long as it is not towards destruction of lives and property. Every one of those people are people who are finding the solution to the problem in the country. And I know some of you are already leaving your comments, or for me, right, be kind with me a little bit, but let me know your honest opinion. Leave your comments down below. Number 7, the people who are the solution. This set of people, they are actually the answer. Some of them are hidden, but they have capacity, they have the grace, they have the resources, they have the wisdom, they have the depth of understanding to be the solution to the national problem of Nigeria. In some cases, some of these people are trapped in religion. In some cases, they're trapped in tradition. Some of them are religious leaders. Some of them are traditional leaders. Some of them are trapped in economic doors where they are running organization of their own, but they are great thinkers, they are great leaders, they're people who could lead the nation into a great path, but their concentration on building their own organization sometimes does not allow them, or some of them do not see that they could shift in dimension. As they begin to cross certain age, you cross into the age of 60, 70, you begin to enter into the realm of legacy, where you do not only contribute in your field, but you contribute on a national level. Some of them do not even need to be in government or be president or governors. It just means by forming an alliance of elders of state, stakeholders that will sit together, become the holding father, the founding father, the ameliorating fathers, the success fathers, the pathfinders for the nation. But set up a committee that can engage government, engage legislature, talk to the judiciary, create movement, or actually invest on young generation. Not only who are of your religious or traditional beliefs, but engage people with potential, people who can communicate, the people who can go far in government, investing in them, pushing them forward, to become somebody in the community. The people who are the solution should wake up and realize that they are the solution. You can be a solution even without being a president or governor. There is something by a great leader that I respect and love so much. John Maxwell said 360-degree leadership. What that means is that you can lead from wherever you are. You can make a difference from wherever you are. Now, let me tell you these last 3 points about these 7 categories of people in Nigeria. Number 1, every Nigerian can be the problem. And I mean it. Every single Nigerian can be the problem, depending on when and how it's happened. Number 2, every Nigerian can be the solution. Any Nigerian can actually be the solution to the problem, maybe at a local level, at a national level, or at a state level, whatever the level is. And lastly, every Nigerian can be any one of the 7 categories. My name is Abraham Great, and all I'm doing is I'm trying to connect the dots. Please, if you have not followed me before, please click on the subscribe button right now. Do it now. And also follow me on Twitter. My handle on Twitter is on Twitter, Abraham Great. And on Instagram, I am Abraham Great. On Facebook, Abraham Great. It is working. Hi, my name is Abraham Great, and welcome to this platform. Here you will learn tips that will help you to connect the dots. These tips has the proclivity to move you into action. It is working. Let's go. I want to talk about the stark difference between President Joe Biden and President Donald Trump. Wow. The first thing I noticed is that the world, particularly the media, have become a lot quieter since President Joe Biden took office. We had 4 years of so much noise and so much things going on. And the difference between Donald Trump and President Joe Biden is made clear to us in large variety of issues. But one of them is the media noise, the media proliferation. Like you saw from the campaign until the very week, there was series of events that happened in America, even around the world. I live in a country in England, where even for the President Trump to come to England, it was a big issue. It had to be discussed in Parliament. Many people do not want to see him. We've gone from that to a situation where it is easy for somebody to be the President of America and want to come to England. Now, those differences that we see between Joe Biden and President Donald Trump are around the issue of climate, the issue of taxes, the issue of trade, the race relationship, the national security, immigration, and above all, the handling of the coronavirus pandemic. The pandemic started in America. In America, Donald Trump was still the president in America at the time. And please note this. If you understand the concept of internationalization and globalization, you realize that the history have proven for generation after generation that people who are said to be patriotic or patriots are often antagonists of globalization. Globalization meaning people and goods and services moving from different parts of the world, and people interchanging. And there is a huge difference between internationalization and globalization, because you may be international and not global, and you can be global without being international. What internationalization simply means your presence or your business is in multiple countries. So for example, before Coca-Cola became global, Coca-Cola was international. Now, the real truth is that Coca-Cola was in many countries, but not in all countries, but enough countries to be international. But you can have today, Apple, I don't think still have office in most part of the world today. Apple may not even have an office yet in Nigeria or what have you. I don't think they do have. But Apple is global. Everybody uses Apple. So your product or service can become global without even being international. Internationalization can happen many times later. I'll give you another example. McDonald's is international, but they're not global. There are countries where you get to, and unless people saw it on the movie, they don't know what McDonald's is. But you have McDonald's in many countries of the world, but most of those countries are developed countries in the world. Whereas music is global. You may have Beyonce, and Beyonce does not have office in South Africa. Maybe not, maybe she does, maybe for some other reasons. But Beyonce is all over the world. No matter the language you spoke or you speak, you see Beyonce. Everybody knows Beyonce. I give you another example. Jazz music. Nobody is singing anything, but no matter the creed, no matter the language, no matter where you are, that music is global. But also, the institution of the studio that made that music may not even be international at all. Now, these guys who fight against globalization hate the idea of migration, the idea of mass movement of people. And a lot of them hold their cards to their chest. This country is ours, this country is mine, why are you coming for it? I have so much treasure in this country, this is my country, you should not come into my country. And for some reason, it appears that that was the side that President Donald Trump tilted towards the most. He will refer to things like America first, while America first to him does not only just mean the fact that he doesn't want immigration, it meaning that in terms of negotiation, in terms of dialogue, in terms of many things that happen around the world, he wants to put America at the first of the agenda, or he wants to think of America before start giving hate to other countries. In general, President Trump has governed as a Boston Republican icon. I won't even call him a Republican, to be honest. I think that President Trump ran on the platform of the Republican Party, but the truth is that he's hardly a Republican in himself. I just see he's not a Democrat, he's not a Republican, but he saw the place that he could actually have his idea and be embraced better, and that was with the Republican Party. I think if there was a third party that I could call in America, he's of the media party. What he has done all his life is media business, everything that he has used the media as a tool. Although he came there and he seems to have been against the media, but the real truth is that you really never see him. He played both parties. He played the Democrat, he played the Republican. He tried to work with them, but he hardly ever was a proponent of consensus. I want this. Whatever he wants, he want to get it. And he realized that politics is more complex than that, that sometimes you can't just have your way. And that's true to both his relationship with other nations, where America First philosophy has tested the bonds beyond the US, and as long as even long-term allies were in problem, there were domestic politics and where he consistently pushed boundaries of the executive authority, frequently finding himself reined in federal judiciary. Biden on the other hand contrasts nearly everything that Trump was agitating for. He has held on to a combination of largely progressive policies. His position is coupled with promise to return the country back to normalcy, where two parties can dialogue together again, where people can work with other nations. Now, at this point, let me say this. Trump came with an agenda, and his agenda was, look, I fought to win this election, promising people this, promising that we do that. Most of his ideas were not really founded on any policy. He has not been a policy maker, but don't forget, he's old enough. He's seen government. He knows people. He has relationship, and there are things that he has hated all his life. There are things that he has believed. That I will still cover one of them, in a bit. There are many things. He just came there with his own personal agenda. I don't want this. I want the border closed. I want that happen, and to a large extent, he went on trying to deliver on the thing that he says that he will do. But Biden has kept his promise to return the nation to a more traditionally form of politics, one less focus on Twitter and mass rallies and on detailed, but one that is based on detailed policy making. So let me expatiate a bit on that. In that, the presidency of Trump was huge with Twitter, with social media, with media. It was almost like it's like someone waking up to go and fight another war. I could bet that President Trump will be on his bed or be on the dining table, and he'll be thinking of what next. Look, if he hears anything said about him, he's waiting for it to hit back at whoever is saying it. Now, as a leader, that is a bit questionable, because the entire world is counting on the President of America. Biden, on the other hand, has chosen to soften. In fact, when you look, I think President Trump had over 70 million followers on Twitter. Up till now, the last I checked, I don't think that President Biden has even 15 million. And I know that, he's been taunted on this before, and he said clearly he wants to de-emphasize the need for his presidency to be a Twitter presidency, based on Twitter. And everything that I want to do, he wants it to be more focused on detailed policies, debate, legislation, legislative deals, or making things happen in a more political way. On the issue of climate change, though he frequently say he wants all America to have clean water and clean air, President Trump, on the other hand, actually doubted climate change. He pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, and he has taken multiple stands, on several issues that will, including NATO, issues that brings correlation of countries together, because there was a concept. Here, remember, there was a concept of America being the greatest contributor on NATO, and President Trump, he looks at the number and he thinks like, why would this have to be? Why would this have to be? And why would America be paying more? But there is always a cost that comes with being world power. But not just that, America actually gives the rest of the world a lot of gap in terms of the level of the power that America possesses over every other person. So it is almost like me building a house that is worth a lot more. That maybe an average house, let's assume that all the 200 and something countries, say we have 220 countries, let's assume that they are all an average cost of $50 million. I'm just using that because even one person is worth more than that. But America is almost like $750 million. So the difference between that is that the house that is worth more would need a lot more security, security, electricity, insurance. It's costing America a lot more, and this concept is hard under President Donald Trump to understand, that the reason why America is paying more to NATO and to all this is not only because America is frivolous, it's also because America is paying for its fat, big brotherhood over the rest of the world. So, for example, if there was war in a place, the reason why America will intervene is foreign policy. which is more of what the Democrat Party always believes so much in, the foreign policy, investing in other country. Let's go and stop the war in that place so that it will not affect us. Let's go and do this there so that it will not affect our ally. Let's go. So the concept sometimes may be difficult for someone who does not understand the principle of foreign policy, the principle of policy making. President Biden, on the other hand, proposed a $2 trillion plan to reduce the greenhouse gas emission and the key drivers for global warming. It contributed even more money to the Paris Agreement, reducing the carbon neutral by 2035, putting that money towards building new kind of vehicles that will be less pollutive in the environment. Regarding national security, Trump's approach to national security was focused on isolationism. He wants to isolate America from the rest of the world. He wants the American military to be empowered, to just be great, withdraw them, from fighting. So he increased the defense spending while attempting to reduce the number of forces posted overseas. But in high conflict with the like of Afghanistan, with the like of Iran, with the lack of Iraq, and on the soil of US, even allies, American allies, he fought with the like of South Korea, the like of Germany. It was frequently, his frequent claim that other members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization owes money to the US. They need to pay us back. Why are we doing this? Why is NATO taking advantage of us? But most of it is that he probably lacked the understanding of what these foreign policies means and why America has to pay this big price to be the big brother of the world. NATO members have shaken generations. They have held allies together. They have held countries together. NATO has intervened in many parts of the world, in Europe, in America. Let's remember even the treaty that brought NATO together. Let's remember what happened, during the Second World War. Let's remember what happened during the time of Hitler. Let's remember what happened, how Europe came calling on America. And when these bodies were put together, they were put together for the collective good of the entire earth. But America, being the biggest player, has the biggest price to pay. America is never wasting money. There's a reason why you are not world power for no reason. And if America wants to lose that place, China is waiting. What's it called? Russia is waiting. And if you want to give it to Saudi Arabia, is waiting. They will take the lead. They don't mind. They don't lack that money. They will spend a lot more money and they will take that leadership role. America leads the world. And any government or any president who leads America needs to be strong on foreign policy, needs to understand that America runs the world. However, Biden is a more internationalist than Trump and is a strong supporter of the military or the judicial deployment of forces abroad. He believes in sending people to keep peace. Even where there is no war, he believes that we need to strategically position our army either to gather information or to look over certain territories, ally territories or neighboring territories that sustain our allies. Now, don't forget the relationship. One of the key parts of President Trump's presidency was the relationship he fostered with North Korea's president. Now, America had a treaty arrangement of security over South Korea. I've been privileged to travel to South Korea, and you see, no matter where you go in South Korea, you see the presence of the American soldiers on the train, on the bus, everywhere. America have been overseeing this country for over 50 years now. Because of the serious war that many lives were, one of the worst war that you saw around the world that happened. When that war, or the way that war came to an end, America is on a contract. It's almost like you are paying a security agent to come and look over your house. That's the relationship that exists between America and South Korea. So America has a very big and a huge military base in South Korea. They have a huge base. I can nearly say that out of every 20 people you see on the road in South Africa, in South Korea, you nearly see an American soldier somewhere looking around, or even without guns, they're just there. The presence is there. It's the way South Korea lives. And that has kept North Korea at bay, knowing that America is strategically positioned beside them and they cannot come to harass South Korea just anyhow. So this one-time chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee has a strong relationship with many leaders of around the world, and every American leader strategically choose leaders, either it is the foreign secretary or what have you, strategically sent. Now you will see this sometimes during election. It has happened in Nigeria. Not only in Nigeria, America will send its foreign ministers to go into dialogue with both opposition and sometimes the incumbent government. Sometimes America will send observers to observe. Sometimes America have been poisoned. People have abused America thinking that America installed that power and will install this power. Sometimes it's not as easy in deciding like that. It's not just that. America sometimes look at, okay, this country that is borrowing from us, this country that we're helping, this country that is always running back to us for loans, for help. Now they're going through election. Can we oversee, can we study, can we get some information to know what is good for this country? Okay, we realize that this is the best, that is the best. Okay, we're going to speak to both parties. Now, in recent time, we see that America sometimes have gotten that wrong. And when America itself had foreign infiltration into its own election in 2016, allegedly, it is believed that Americans' reaction to intervention in other people's election now is carefully reviewed. So because America doesn't have that strong voice again to say, oh, you are having an election, we're coming to observe, because they themselves, they say, he that lives in glass house, don't throw stones. On technology development, President Trump's approach has focused on reducing government barriers to technology and innovation, reducing tax and eliminating regulation, and administrations believe in limit innovation. Under Trump, the amount of federal spending on tech has generally increased during his 4 years term. But IT notes that when the exception of certain technology, like the administration has reduced spending on tech research, for example, and development. Biden, on the other hand, indicated throughout the economic plan he supports significant increase in investment, particularly research and development and innovation. He wants to see more. He wants America to do more. He wants more innovation. He wants more things. Also, Biden favors a large government role in healthcare and physical infrastructure investment. Biden is very interested in Affordable Care Act, which they call the Obama Act. Biden is always interested, like the Democratic Party, they want to have a situation where there is health for all people. But unlike Trump, the Republican Party believes that the health industry should remain privatized. You may not understand, but particularly if you're watching me from America, most Americans still don't understand this. I live in England and health is free for all. Now, Americans are always afraid because the politics is being told them that it's better for the health to remain privatized. Now, health is the biggest industry in America, and it is understood why this is always political. America will always be polarized, always. Look at in the case of England. It's not as big as the UK, but health is paramount for everybody. You do not need health insurance. And you actually have had the opportunity to have been part or to have received health in both UK and the US. Particularly, I had a child in America. In having a child in America, it cost me and my wife and I'm on a leg. Almost $20,000 to give birth. In the UK, yes, because we live there, we wouldn't pay a dime, not even £1 at all. But not just that, I realized that yes, Americans are always so big about this thing, about the health industry, but the kind of health that we receive in England is top class. And when you look at a country like Germany, Germany is a way ahead of even England in healthcare. I mean, they take you like a human being. They treat you well. You go through the rigor. Although there's a balance in Germany in terms of you still need some supportive insurance, health insurance, to what the government will normally provide freely. You need health insurance. But at least you get a lot more than what you get in America. It's a pity if you haven't got health insurance, because it's almost difficult to have access to very good health. But during President Obama, a lot of that was corrected by bringing the Affordable Care Act, meaning that if you cannot afford, and it can be proven through your employment history and everything, that you cannot afford health, you should still be able to have access to health. And Biden has been promoting that. So these and others, among so many other lines, are the difference between President Trump and President Biden. But let me say this very big one that is a major difference between the two. One of them is a showman. It's a big showbiz person. He wakes up on a daily basis, does his hair, is ready to make the world either laugh or cry, or he's just a showman. But the other man, on the other hand, is a policy person. He's someone who is looking at the implementation of a bill, implementation of an act, something that is going to decide on, that we're going to work on, that is going to at large affect the rest of the country. Here are my differences between President Trump and President Joe Biden. My name is Abraham Great, and I am just connecting the dots. Hi, my name is Abraham Great, and welcome to this platform. Here you will learn tips that will help you to connect the dots. These tips has the proclivity to move you into action, and guess what? It is working. Today I want to talk about 5 ways to become a celebrity, interviewing or through a celebrity you may or may not know. Now, one of the status that make people proud out there is a hero, being a hero, heroic, being a celebrity, being a big person, a well-known person. And sometimes we don't know, but sometimes we criticize the people that are well-known, that are celebrities, but in our heart of heart, we actually wish that we are, like them, or that we are that known. In another video, I covered influence, the difference between fame and influence. And what I'm covering here is really not fame in itself. I'm talking about the status of being a celebrity, someone that is being celebrated. So you can be famous, but not really that much of a celebrity. For you to be, you can be famous for a right or wrong reason. But when you are a celebrity, you are actually for positive reason. People find reason to look up to you. They find reason to like you. So I hope you get the difference. In another video, I cover the difference between fame and influence. It can be one of the most enjoyable assignments in journalism, interviewing celebrity. You interview movie stars, musicians, and politicians, magicians, maybe even you jam a dancer or a mega church pastor, a religious leader, a community leader, someone that is well known. Now, I want to teach you how to use interviews, a way of an interview. Either you know the celebrity or you don't know the celebrity. I want to show you a key way to make yourself a celebrity by interviewing a celebrity. But I'll show you 5 ways that you can conduct the interview, or you can get to meet the people, or that you can get to know the people, and then you can actually become a celebrity through that. Pick your favorite flavor, either a book celebrity to interview, it may sound pretty cool, an author or someone that is well known. You meet up with a rich and famous person, you know, or you're thinking about your favorite musician, and you want to ask them loads of curious questions with a pitch story that you are hoping to publish maybe on your page or on YouTube, and editors and fans forming, you know, about it, that, oh, this interview, can we please have it played on our channel? I'm going to show you how you are going to do that. If only it were that easy, you know, everyone would have become a celebrity, but it's not possible for everyone to become a celebrity. It's often difficult to get famous, and it's also very difficult to get famous people to grant you interview. So I've spent many years, you know, most of my years, I've always been around celebrity. I'm not a celebrity myself because I really do not, I don't see myself as one. In some cases, people call me a celebrity clergy or what have you, but I love what I do, that in terms of, I have a whole lot of celebrity friends in every genre of music, or in every facet of life. And I was moved at some point when I realized that just a talk between me and somebody can actually make me so much attention, can, you know, generate the kind of influence. And I will show you how you too. Now, please understand, at the time that you're able to secure your first celebrity that you want to interview, I want you to know that you are making yourself to have access, like a reporter, to all that that person has, all the people that that person knows, all the people that the person, you know, can reach. And here is the first thing that you want to do. You want to start small. Here are the things that I learned. You want to start small. You're not looking for the most famous. You're not looking for the richest. You're not looking for the the most difficult private jet riding celebrity. You just want to start small. Major celebrities wants to be interviewed by people with track record of interviewing public figures. So if you are interested in this niche, you have to become a freelance interviewer yourself. So no matter what you're doing right now, if you want to become a celebrity, just become an interviewer. And what you need to do with that is that either with your phone, or you pretend to have a good mic. That mic can cost you any amount of money. And what you want to do is that you want to brand your name or brand anything and put yourself on a picture as an interviewer. You understand? And what you want to do, although you're starting small, what you want to do is that, number one, you are ready to start your own YouTube channel. You're also ready to have your own fan page on Facebook, on Instagram, and every other place that you can have it. But more so, you let the person know that you have the ability to distribute their, this interview to many platforms. Now, there are very easy ways to do that, and I'm going to be showing you later. If you're interested in the niche, take close attention and listen to these tips that I'll be giving you. Imagine somebody interviewing Lady Gaga, or you just got the luck to interview Beyonce, or maybe in the context of Africa, you have the opportunity to interview Davido, Wizkid, or you have the opportunity to interview Chatta Wale, or comedians like Basketmouth, like Bovey, like what have you. And these people are not as difficult as you actually think. So the first class that you want to look at is look for musicians that you can interview. The second class is that you can look for political people into politics, to talk through about your town, about a development, or maybe about an incident, about a new law that have just been passed. Always look for issues that are trending. So if you're looking for musicians, you look for the ones that are trending, or the music that is trending, or an issue around the music entertaining industry that is trending, and you want to interview the musician. Even that, if that issue is not about them, you may want to interview them about it. Now, the same thing with actors. If you're sworn over an actor, or you like an actor, find a way to reach them, and I'm going to show you some of the ways that you can reach them but get yourself ready that you want to ask them about the movie they've just done, or that a movie that they featured in. So a musician, a politician, or an actor. Every town has a local celebrity, no matter how it is. There is a celebrity within your locality. And if you can reach to the ones that are closest to you, you might just realize that you are closer. You know, some time ago, I had someone who was an Olympic champion in wrestling. And although, you know, people no longer know him, I was able to use him to bring a lot of people to a religious setting that I was at the time by announcing, I said, next week we're going to be having this Olympic champion wrestling representing Nigeria. It was this and that. Oh, people got excited. Some people actually knew him, that he was an Olympic gold medalist for Nigeria. And sometimes I still use this. I have sometimes professional, I'm lucky that I have some professional footballer who actually have lived to play in the Premier League, in Ligue 1 in France or in Germany. I've had many people like that who are in my circle of friends. And sometimes just posting an interview or something with them gathers a lot of people to me, because what happens is that the people that know those people are interested in listening to them, and invariably they find your name. Now, listen to this tip. It's common it's common these days for big celebrity to grant group interviews, meaning that press conference, you know, where lots of reporters are in the same place and they are granting interviews, you know. But sometimes these people run away from these things because sometimes press people misinterpret them. You know, don't turn down also the offer for you to join. If they're saying, oh, I'll be having a press conference, some other press people will be there. So instead of guaranteeing you a one-on-one, what have you, come to my press conference and you can take the interview. Now, I'll tell you what you do with that. Now, you can brand it on your YouTube, on your Facebook, or what have you. Oh, I will be having a press conference with this so person, along with, you know, you mention all the other big names, media people that will be there, and I'm happy to be interviewing. And then by the time you're reporting also, you know, my view of the situation in the interview that was granted by this interviewer to the media houses, of which I am included, here is my presentation, or here is my opinion, or there is my take about it. It's not the only way, but it helps you to build a cloud of attention, build your celebrity interview track record, so you can show this clip that confirm, yes, you are, yes, you took part, you know, in that. So you can, you may not get it accurately right, but you are already on the path to beginning to have a record or have a track record that you are interviewing. Then the next thing that you do, number 2 ways, is that work on your connection. Never assume that you don't know people. Never assume that you don't know enough people. Remember, you may not need a connection directly to the celebrity. You may just need an introduction. Somebody might just know the person and you tell them, oh, look, I'm doing this research about you. Can I interview you on your view on this matter? But make it something that is intriguing. Be creative. Let me give you a clue. A footballer fainted on the pitch many years ago in England. His name is Patrick Mumba. Now, I had someone coaching my children who actually coached this person when he was younger, also to pass, you know, his exams in the UK. In this case, the young age exam, like 11 plus GCSE or A levels. Now, this person, Professor Imafidon, and I are actually very close. So I, in a way, took Professor Imafidon to meet the Vice President of Nigeria, for example. But Professor Imafidon, on the other hand, introduced me to this other person. So the thing is that if I was going to interview Patrice, I have Professor who can, Abraham Great want to interview you on the event, on how you turn your life around from after the event of you, having a cardiac arrest. So that interview will be granted. I give you another example. I'm close to a few footballers, and I can ask them about their career. And guess what? Through them, I can actually get a playing right now, someone that is playing, or a footballer that is playing. There's another way. I'm just mentioning this case, and you realize if you check on your connection, there's a footballer out there. There was a story about he plays for Tottenham, but his father is Nigerian. His father is actually my friend. I'm talking about Dele Ali. His father is my friend. His father was granting so many interviews to newspaper at some point to tell his own version of what had happened, of why Dele Ali is not in touch with his dad. I can trend on that rather than just driving the dad. He lives in the US, but when it comes into the UK, we see. I can actually just say, you know what, man Kenny, let's sit down and grant an interview. I can do that interview where we're talking about Dele Ali. Or we can grant that interview where I just focus on talking about, Kenny's other son who also plays football professionally, and I pray that he has his own break also. So there are many ways that you can work on your connection. You can, maybe I'm already at that place where I have access to so many celebrities, I have access to people, but I didn't get there in a day. I keep working on my, and then don't make it all about you. When you meet people or that will give you access to other people, always make it about humanity or about them. Oh, there's this thing, I'm doing this research to know the number of people that actually, suffer from this, or there's this thing going on about cancer research. I just want your opinion or your take on how we can develop or our community. Make it about humanity. Make it about something that will benefit other people, or make it about them. When people know that it's about humanity, or they know that it's about them, then they will be more inclined to listen to you. Here are things to avoid. Avoid making it a trivial issue. So don't go to people because you hear that one musician is fighting another musician, and you say, I want to interview your take on it. Unless you are a well-known media person, they might not grant you indulgence, because that's probably an area of pain in their life. Number 3, appeal to their interest, which I covered a bit of for what I've just said last. Let it be about something they are interested in. And you can always know this if you find your favorite celebrity. If you watch them enough, you will always see what they count to be important to them. Do some research and learn about your celebrity. Maybe they like pets, or they like a particular football team that they support, or they found a charity of their own, or they have a mentor, or they are vegan, or maybe they like science, or they like motorbikes. So go in the area of their interest. Think about publications that they might want to be interviewed on, or issues that are going on that they want to be interviewed on. They get tired of being asked the same 6 questions by the news agents over and over. So you develop a focused angle for your interview. Develop an area of major interest that is somewhat new to them, but is quite creative and is quite innovative, and is just attack or draw their attention. A pitch like, I want to interview Joe Famous for X magazine. Leave the celebrity nervous about what it is. You just say, my name is Abraham Great. I want to interview you for Famous magazine. It might be your own. They don't even know what Famous magazine is. Some of them will probe you, what have you. It's a publication that we're starting. Or you can actually genuinely write a proposal to news agencies. Guess what? You may not know this. Nearly everybody can become a journalist. TV stations, newspaper companies, and magazine companies are looking for reporters. Take it. They may not pay you for it, but you will use it to gain attention. If you say to them, Can I register to be a columnist or to be a reporter for you or to bring you news? They'll tell you, why not? If you bring us something that is interesting, we will like it. So when you have that, they'll put your name at the back of it, and this can help you to get notable. Because when they are publishing your interviews or they are publishing what you're reporting to them, they'll put your name on it and Google will rank your name. This can help you to get verified on different social media platforms. You don't even to have read journalism. Number 4, be where they are. One thing that is certain is that like the rising of the sun is that celebrities always make personal appearance. They go for comedy shows, they go for events, they turn up for movie premieres or charity events. They go for celebrations around their industries. So look for where they are, but usually there will be media questions ready for them and they are prepared for most of these things. So you shock them by something creative, something innovative, and something that it is genuine from you. Number 5, persist. Don't give up. Don't say I've tried. Top celebrities often have multiple layers of protections or things that is very difficult to reach them. Do not give up. Keep on trying. I have a celebrity that I wanted to do something with. Although we are close, but they always avoid to do an interview. But I've never given up that one day we're still going to do that interview. Now, this particular celebrity is one of the most known people in the world. Everybody knows this particular footballer everywhere in the world. However, we spend time together. We eat together. We sleep, we are in the house talking. We're a very close-knitted family. But to grant certain interview, always careful because they have brand issues also. They have agreement, endorsement, and things that they have signed, and certain things or certain image can hurt their, what was it called? Their reputation or their brand. And don't forget, when most of them retire, this is what they live on. So please understand when people are saying to you they can't take picture or they can't grant public interview. Sometimes they are just being careful because they do not know the content of what will be produced, and what could be produced could be detrimental to their own, their own brand or their own contract. So never be angry with them. Don't be angry that, I've been trying to do, what do you feel like? No, they will eventually one day grant you attention. So pay attention to these 5 things or 5 ways, and they will help you to become a celebrity yourself. Now, hear this as I round up. Whilst you're doing this, there are places and platforms that you can paste this interview. You can paste it on Facebook, you can paste it on Instagram, on Pinterest. You can also learn, if you Google, how to submit a PR interviews. There are international magazines that you can actually join as a member for a fee, and you can begin to report your interview to even American platforms, UK platforms, and I don't think they're that expensive. If you say PR or interview submission or journalist submission platforms, there are platforms that you can actually register to, and before you know it, in one interview, you can submit to over 200 different online magazines. And because of the ranking of the person's, the celebrity's name, you just become automatically ranked because your name is presented as the interviewer. So you begin to get, imagine doing that and over and over and over. Even in a year, you don't even need to do more than a few. Just a few alone, reporting you in 100 different magazine platforms. One day you just Google your name and guess what? You are coming up. So you yourself can become a celebrity. Guess what? Take action. If you've learned anything from these tips, and for more videos from Abraham Great, please click on the subscribe button. It is working.
For 37 minutes, President Muhammadu Buhari was addressing the nation on the 61st independence anniversary, and it touched on so many things that is going to form debate amongst Nigerians in the next few days. A lot of people will say, of course, he touched areas that I wanted. Others are going to say, well, I was expecting him to touch here and there. But however, that is how it goes. 37 minutes address from President Muhammadu Buhari. Really, so many things to talk about there. Now, I have with me in the studio Balauba, who has been one of our analysts in here, as well as Ibrahim Great is here, and also joining us from London in UK is Olanirewaju Sharafa, who we have started discussions with earlier on. All right, Ibrahim Great, let me start with you on this one. Earlier, before the speech, I was asking, what are we expecting, or what are you expecting? You used the word empathy, and Olanirewaju used hope, the issue of hope. So, did you feel that from the president?
I would not particularly say empathy, but I would put it this way, that in terms of tonality, I will grade this speech about 6.5.
6.5?
It's 6.5, you know.
6.5%?
That's about 65% of 100.
Oh, okay.
The tonality was calm, but, and you know, first of all, let me say it's important for us to give glory to God, because a large amount of Nigerians believe so much in God. And I want to believe that is the reason why we're still alive and some of us are still breathing in this country. So the president starting with that was a good point, and I don't expect anything less than that. However, saying that, overall, I would expect the speech to be, every speech has to always have a central theme. And the major thing in the country at the moment is insecurity. I felt that this speech has brushed over the issue of insecurity. Now, the biggest issue in Nigeria right now is not COVID-19, it's not the pandemic. Even the nations that are hit the most, in Europe, I've been to Europe, almost throughout Europe, most of the masks are off. People are living, you know, going into the store without this thing. We're still using masks in Nigeria. I don't seem to understand why. But the major issue of the Nigerian country is insecurity. A lot of time of the 37 minutes needed to have been spent on that. However, I expected the president to touch on Twitter ban, and I would say that was a home run for me, because the president addressing that, although the speech, the way it's been crafted, there's a bit of ambiguity around, is the Twitter really lifted, or is lifted with condition, or it's not lifted
He said
yet.
He has ordered it to be lifted on the conditions. Now, he gave conditions, and some of the issues he talked about there they've been deliberating on is on the issue of national security, physical presence, fair taxation, local content, and things like that.
Those are fair points. But I'd like to say this. If I was writing the president's speech, I'll put that as the last or the penultimate statement. Because 70% of Nigerians are youth. And you will ask, how long will people connect to this speech? How long? Many people would have been switched off. Some people in the studio would even have switched off that this is going. What is in it for me? At the moment that I went on Twitter, as we're in the studio, the moment the president said, people have already been tweeting. There was silence about the presidential speech until he reached Twitter. So I will expect him to actually use that as an opportunity to connect with the youth. Before I leave you, I'll say, the speech lacks connectivity. I don't understand why at this age and time, our president still have to be sitting down to read a speech. There is opportunity to use a teleprompter and stand up, you know, and connect with the people.
Well, Balauba earlier, when he was talking, said that with the presidential system of government we run, the president is like a god. And you know, in the African context, when you have the God factor, somehow he sits down and everybody, you know, shows some level of allegiance and all of that. So maybe those are just little symbolisms here and there. But it's all right. We understand you. Let me bring Olanirewaju in here. Olanirewaju, you talked about the issue of hope earlier on. Did the presidential speech or address, did he give you hope?
Thank you, Mike. I suppose this speech was not targeted to give hope to Nigeria, but I think what he was expected of, or what the president intended to achieve with this speech was to, emphasize more on the peacefulness of Nigeria, the need for unity, issues around, governance of vaccine, issues around security and all of that. But I think it would have been more ideal for the president to come out to assure the youth that tomorrow will be better, give some sectoral recognition to the entertainment industry where we have the youth who are thriving with their talent, touch more on, good things and positive things that are going to kind of give us that assurance that we're going to see a nation that will prosper, rather than touching on issues around agitators, Sunday Igboho specifically, mentioning Kano, because these are issues that are, of course, not forgotten, but people are not necessarily looking at that at the moment. So I suppose while the president, missed this opportunity to assure the youth about the future, we also did not get empathy in this speech, and it's so painful that the president missed that connectivity of citizen.
Okay, well, Balaba, you listened to the president's address, and he touched on so many things, several areas he talked about, from security to petroleum to digital to transportation to youth to girl child education to vaccines to media and so on. And did it connect with you somehow?
Let me start by saying that my colleague in the studio said something that I think I must speak to, and that is the fact that he has recently visited Europe and that people are no longer using face mask. We must be very careful, very, very careful. Non-pharmaceutical measures, such as using face mask, are still very, very, very important. Reason is that the virus is still there and people are still dying. And the unfortunate part of it regarding the virus is the fact that variants are emerging. And the most effective way, and we should not get into the madness that has started in America regarding, wanting to tie ideological fanaticism to simple medical issues. It's been tested over the history of humanity. 100 years ago, we saw pictures of people. So face masks are still important. Let's pack that aside. For me, it was another Bouteflika moment. I wouldn't know if you know what I mean by Bouteflika. There was a president that just passed, God bless his soul, an ex-president of Algeria. For so many years, there would be rumors that it was, and they would wheel him out. For me, it was an ultimate Bouteflika moment. Again, and the Lulabic effect. You know what I mean by lullaby. I was almost sleeping. And maybe because I woke up too early, you guys made me wake up around 4 a.m. So the lullabic effect was very, and I was training. But I wrote so many things down from his speech. And as time goes on, but you see, like my colleague in England stated, he needed not to have mentioned Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho. Look at even the pronunciation of Sunday Igboho, president of Nigeria. Somebody could have schooled him on how to pronounce the name of him, but leave that aside. In the backdrop of the fact that the government of United Arab Emirates listed names of Nigerians that the Nigerian government has refused to mention and arrest them. So we have a case of a government of a sovereign nation identifying Nigerian sponsors of terrorism, and which the Nigerian government deliberately refrained from acknowledging by arresting these characters. But our president, when he was addressing us, was mentioning somebody in the National Assembly that was supposedly sponsoring either of these two characters, Sunday Igboho or Nnamdi Kanu. And that tells you...
From reports, we hear that the reports credited to the presidency said they're not interested in naming and shaming, but prosecution.
My brother, it would have been lovely if those characters had been arrested and are presently now being taken through our criminal justice system. It would have been lovely to have had that as the background for our president to speak to the fact that there is a character in our National Assembly sponsoring this division. And this was just when he said Nigeria is for all of us. What gives me now the impression that a president that is speaking so sclerotically, on the one hand, condemning rightfully so, condemning terrorism, condemning the agitations of some people to break up this country, and yet we could see that the big elephant in the China shop is the fact that people who have been identified in another jurisdiction, names, they are yet to be arrested, yet to be prosecuted, and we could see that slant. You know, it was a very rich speech in many respects too, regarding some of the ideas tucked into it. His lack of, I said lullabic, I said Bouteflika moment. But to be very honest with you, nobody can deny the fact that you have some fantastic ideas in the speech. He spoke on the PIA. Petroleum Industry Act, and the fact that the Nigerian state is gradually tilting in the direction of recognizing the fact that when economic activities are done in a particular locale, the aborigines of that locale and the residents of that locale could be negatively affected, and there must be a form of recompense. He was a bit generous to the 9th Assembly. Why would he not be generous to the 9th Assembly? This is the ultimate legislative subservience or docility we have ever seen in the history, not only in the political history of Nigeria, but in the history of a presidential system of government that has ever known, across the world. He spoke on modular refineries. It became very interesting to me. And he mentioned the fact that, in Imo, he would soon commission a modular refinery, though he will soon commission a modular refinery. There are developments in Lagos regarding a modular refinery. Akwa Ibom, will soon modular. Fantastic. He spoke on gasification project. And when it got to the gasification project, I really want to, because I was in Abuja a couple of days ago, and I was fortunate to be called impromptu to address a session held by the National Automotive Design and Development Council, an awareness program. You see, gasification is wonderful if we could handhold the artisanal community. Look, the world is decarbonizing. We're moving from fossil fuel, the pollutants, the great pollutants, we are moving from fossil fuel, the great pollutants, where the world is now transiting to a carbon neutral economy. Before getting to the ultimate carbon neutral economy, and I'm talking as a director of a prominent automotive mechatronics, this in Nigeria, and a facilitator of human capital development in that industry. You know what? We have enormous opportunities in the gasification effort before we get to electric vehicles. Nigeria has enormous opportunities because we are naturally a gas nation, even far beyond. And we will speak to this as time goes on.
We'll come back to that, because he was talking about the issue of end power and so on, raising the number of those who are benefiting from 500,000 to 1 million.
He said he has actually instructed that be raised from 500,000 to 1 million, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that vis-a-vis the issue of creating job and partnering with agencies and corporations and enterprises that are into that sector. Now, Abraham, let's talk about the issue of, because three of you have issues with the way the speech connects. Now, you are a leadership consultant and communication person. When it comes to, because of course, the president was not just the one who decided to take his pen and write all of these things out. Of course, there would have been a team putting this together and ensure that they craft a message. When it comes to communicating with Nigerians and the way that will hook them somehow to what the issues are and what their hopes are, what do you think is the missing link there?
I think the greatest of the missing link is assumptions. And I always say that assumption is the lowest level of knowledge. You know, we are yet as a nation too much of dictatorship in this country. And one of the things that needed to have
from
happened,
our military experience.
well, we need to tear away from that, because the military have now been gone for, I think, 21 years, if I remember. But what we need to do when we're giving or writing speech like this is that we need to connect first with the people in research. Use platforms like Twitter or Monkey Survey, have a feel of the people, then a bit of qualitative survey. Send people out. Go and ask people what you expect the president to say. What are you expect on the first of, what are you expecting the federal government to connect with you? Physical written question. Then people will tell you, oh, I expect the president to do this. I expect, then you do an analysis, you code that into groups. This is, 60% of the people are saying this. If I was writing the president's speech, that's how I would start. You know, giving glory to God, connecting with the people. You know, 33% of Nigerians say they are happy about the situation. You know, 14% of Nigerians are in. About 71% of the country think the country is insecure. Here are the measures that we're taking. Sometimes we just see that and we're basing writing of presidential speech only on intelligence. You cannot connect with people without data. You see, once you get to a certain place in life and in position, you disconnect with people, not willingly, but you really can't feel the pulse of the people any longer. And that is why research and development. I'll give you an example. The president was talking about a pharmaceutical independence. And I don't see how that is happening, because with the last I checked on the Nigerian budget, there is very little effort to really improve research and development in this country. And without research and development, how do we become the giant of Africa? How do we develop? At this point, we're still importing vaccine from abroad. But we are intellectuals. We have Nigerian doctors.
But isn't that what he's saying, that we're looking for our own measures now to see how we can develop research locally and become independent?
It's one thing to write speech and say those things. It's another thing for us to actually take pragmatic steps to make those things happen. And you feel those in the national budget. You feel that in the way the president addressed the nation. I wouldn't need a 37-minute speech from the president if the president can focus on the core thing, like insecurity and the health of the people.
All right. Olarewaju, just in 2 minutes before we go to top of the hour, what is your take home from the president's speech for you? What makes it for you?
Mike, thank you so much for coming back to me, and I love the fact that you questioned the methodology of how the president's speech emerged, and I think you're very correct. The president's speech today has exposed our nation that we have we have weak institutions. We have problem with regards to our institution. This is just an evidence that we have a very weak institution. The presidential speech is not coming from an institutional perspective. One of the strong corporate governance theory or theories in governance is institutional theory. I'm very sure that some of the ministers of the president will be highly disappointed in how the president have actually give account of his stewardship today. Because of course, many of those speeches sometimes even lacks flow, lacks logic. At some point, the president was talking about the civil service competencies, and he immediately moved to girls' education. I don't see connection. I don't see flow in that order. I think in future, speeches like this should come out institutionally, where you have president giving account of various institutions, what is happening in various institutions, what hope are we expecting, what does the future looks like. Unfortunately, also, the president touched on the need for civil service to come into politics. I think this is just a 2023 political permutation. And I suppose this is something that we're not expecting in any way. This is the time our nation is building, and the president should give us hope, empathy, and assurance. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Olanrewaju Sharafa, for your insight and all your contribution.